Hello.
Hey everybody, Jim and Sherry Condo here, and with the real Sherry Condo, and we're welcoming you all this morning to our raw convo, and so where we come together and have a raw conversation just about life and about entrepreneurship, your business, anything to help you and encourage you is really what we want to talk about. And so grab your cup of coffee, all right, or your tea or water, whatever it is.
I'm having water this morning because I got, still from last week.
Right.
And The Incredibles mom, because she inspires me.
Yes, and I went basic cup coffee today.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Good to see all of you out there. Make sure that you connect with us on all social media platforms and tell us what you're thinking about what we're talking about today, and share it with other people. Be sure to invite them onto this weekly talk that we have. And so today we are talking about big butts. Is that right, Sherry?
I like big butts.
I don't think we're supposed to go there today. Oh my goodness!
That was my inner rapper coming out. So we'll leave that in there. We'll suppress that.
Right. Yes, that's probably a good thing. It's a very good thing. So
this morning, we planned this talk yesterday. We were talking about what we're going to do. Well, actually, I guess Friday we talked about what we're going to do, and then yesterday we were just chatting about it and kind of putting our thoughts together. And this morning on Instagram, on Mel Robbins' page, she had this quote up that said, imagine if you were as committed to your goals as you are to your excuses. And that's thought-provoking. So imagine if you were as committed to your goals as you were your excuses. How much further could you be?
Exactly. Well, I this quote is so powerful, and I love the fact that so often we let our excuses get in the way, and that's really our big butts.
That's our big butt.
Right? Our big butts are our excuses. The excuses, whatever that might be, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But it's exactly what we do. We say, I would do this, but. Or I would have done this in my life. Mm-hmm. I would have, or I will do this, or whatever. But, and our big butts get in the way of moving forward, going to the next level, whether it be in personal life or in business, whatever it is. And we need to make sure we need to get rid of our big butts.
Right.
Yes.
And surprise, surprise, this is also a chapter in the upcoming book, The Raw Business, that Sherry Condo is writing, and I don't know when that'll be finished. But nonetheless, Get Rid of Your Big Butts is one of my chapters. And so the idea that we excuse ourselves with our butts, and the people around us fully accept it. For example, if you said, oh my gosh, I would have been on time, but the traffic, there's probably someone at the event that you're attending that goes, oh, I know traffic was terrible today. And boom, you're right off the hook. And so I find that I do this a lot. I think that we live with our big butts, and they excuse our inability or our uncommitted behavior to what our goals or what our plans were.
So people accept the butts.
Yes.
Is that right? Is that a lot of people, because society in general, because maybe society in general, everybody has their excuses.
Right.
And so they allow each other. So we allow each other to have the big butts.
Right. Because if you go to an event and you said, oh, I would have been on time, but traffic, it's the very odd person who would go, well, you should have left sooner. Everybody, you knew there was going to be traffic, just turn on the news. Of course, it's Dallas. And we might be back.
Right,
there we go. Okay, thank you for waiting. So anyway, because we excuse, when we throw out our excuses, we throw out our butt, people aren't going to come back. You're probably not going to come back at someone and say, well, you should have left sooner, or whatever. So we accept it. We accept their excuse. They let themselves off the hook, or vice versa. And we just don't advance. We don't attain the things that that we could be attaining if we just didn't let our butt get in the way.
That's right. So I know that for us, some, personal, getting a little personal here, some big butts, are, I know that for a long time, even age was a big butt for us. Yeah. Or maybe just insecurity. Right. I would do this, but I don't know if I can. I don't know if people acceptance. I know for myself was it's a whole nother conversation, but that whether people would accept what I'm doing or who I am, if I did something, would they accept me? Would they approve of me? And I think that's often a huge thing for a lot of people. I think for a lot of men, and we were talking earlier about what are some men butts, or we were talking about mom shame. We're going to get into that here in just a second. But what are some men shame? And I think for men, really, we say, oh, we don't care, or I'm a man and I can stand on my own 2 feet. I can do whatever, and in reality, it's that acceptance, being approved, being accepted by other men, and oftentimes what our fathers, I think there's father issues there, what our fathers would have thought, or what our fathers do think. Right. And so I think that's some
respect.
And
some respect. So if you step out and you do something, and maybe you don't succeed, then are you respected amongst the men?
Right.
Or disrespected, or whatever.
Right.
That's a big thing for
men,
right?
if we step out as men, if we step out and we fail, failure is unacceptable for men. Right. So I don't think we were planning to go this direction.
We weren't.
This is kind of like every week. I know.
This happens. But, okay, wait. So real quick, let's see. Let's see, Regina said people are polite. You're right, people are polite. Or just not invested in others' behavior. That's true. That is very, very true. That people are polite, so they're not going to say, well, you should have left sooner, and you wouldn't have this problem with the traffic. Or they just really, whatever it is. So, so thank you so much. Please, someone else is giving us some, yes, that's correct, and yes, go with it. Thank you, Alicia. So, so then...
so what are some other butts, or big butts that get in the way?
Excuse me.
And what are some of those things that
I think so we already talked about the very simple stuff. I would have, but I could have, but, and those are kind of everyday. In our house, we could have cooked dinner at home last night, but what? I didn't go shopping. We don't, I'm not creative in the kitchen, whatever we have, or it just didn't sound good, whatever we own. So those are little things, but when we talk about mom shame, and we talk about things that as moms we would say, if I commit to this for a year, or I open my dream business, it's going to take a lot of demand, or then we end up saying, but then the kids would suffer, or I wouldn't be there for them as much. And so we're more, probably more aware of how other moms would say, well, you're not at the school thing, or you're not, what are your kids doing every day?
You didn't bake cookies.
You didn't bake cookies.
Right. You mean you didn't bake cookies this time and bring them?
Right.
Or you didn't bring, cake or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, side note, in our house, it was homemade if it made it home from the store. Like, if I didn't consume those cookies in the car, when they got to the school, they were basically homemade, because they made it home. So go with that, moms. Live that. I think, well, okay, then we can also talk about things on social media. We're hearing all this talk about not just students comparing themselves or how difficult it is in high school because they're looking at all these people, but it's literally, I mean, I watch Jasmine Star. If you don't watch Jasmine Star, you should. But holy cow, does that girl ever have a bad hair day? I don't know. She's perfect. She's beautiful. It's amazing. So, but if I compared my stuff to her, I would say, but I'm not Jasmine Star. So I'm not going to be able to do that.
Right. Comparing other people.
So we're just going to do it. So the big but in our lives is the things that derail us. It's the things that let us off the hook. It's the things that we set aside our goals and our dreams because of what?
Whatever excuse.
Mm-hmm. Whatever the but is.
Yeah. And I think, just off the top of my head, I just thought about, well, what if we reversed it? What if we said, if I don't do this,
right?
If I don't pursue my dreams, what is it I'm teaching my children?
Right.
If I don't pursue, if I don't go after the thing that God has planted inside of me,
right? Then
what am I teaching my kids about dreams, about goals, about visions that are implanted,
yep.
that I'm supposed to be doing, that I'm supposed to be pursuing in life to make things better.
Yes. Right.
You know? I think a lot of excuses, a lot of the big buts it's a comfort level.
Right.
I think it's a comfort level, and I've been working on this saying, and those of you that know me, have been around me for a little while, know that I am horrible.
We might have to help him.
Yes, about sayings and about quotes and all that kind of thing. But this one I've been working on for myself.
Okay.
It's kind of my own.
Okay.
So, and
write this down, people.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
You ready? Is that we need, one of the things we need to do is become comfortable being uncomfortable.
It's true.
And it's okay to be uncomfortable.
Right.
Because the reality is that life in general is uncomfortable.
Right.
No matter what. And we try to find relief in that in the different things we do in recreational or whatever, in vacations, and not that any of those things are bad or anything like that, but that in life, as we push forward, as we are reaching for those goals, etc., that it's okay. It's that we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in life, and stop making the excuses, stop having those big buts.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, someone said, don't let other people make excuses for you. Ooh, that's really good.
Wow.
Right, because I can make my own. I can come up with many, many things to excuse myself. And so most definitely don't let other people make excuses for you. Mm-hmm. The mom shame thing, I think that's probably a good one too. And then we're right. So I love that. Please tell us more. But ask questions too, because we'd love to answer them. Yeah. So what else? What else did we talk about?
Well, I think that the other part of kind of your big butt is thinking, or your intentions.
Right.
Right? Having all the intentions in the world to do something and thinking about it, and not taking the action. And I think this is where we started last week when you and I were just talking, mm-hmm. and where we came from is that having all the intentions in the world and thinking about what it is that you want to do, or what it is if for those of you that have a business, that are entrepreneurs, or wanting to start a business, etc., and thinking about it 80 hours,
right,
for 80 hours, and then taking action for 10, the reality is that you did not put in 90 hours worth of work.
Right.
And so it actually becomes a big but, because you think, or you say to yourself, well, I put in 90 hours, but
I'm not seeing the result.
So I might as well quit.
But you really only got 10 hours in. So could you get the result you were looking for with only the 10 hours? Probably not. So this is big. This is really big. And I have to say, I fall in this category. Like I said, this topic is going to be a chapter in a book that I am writing.
Yep.
And in my mind, I write every single day, That's 2 hours. But in the last 3 weeks, I have not written 2 hours. Does that make sense? So every day I think about this book and I'm writing it in my head. But to put my butt in the seat and start working, I have not been doing that. And I have a ton of buts, right? We're busy. I have, we have a couple different businesses and but. And so here, this book sits inside my head, never to come out. It will come out. It is coming out. But if I don't get my butt in the seat and get to work, I end up letting myself off the hook.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So absolutely about not accomplishing what you were put here to do.
Right.
Someone's waiting for your contribution. If nothing else, your kids, like Jim said, your kids are watching you. They're learning how to combat difficulties by watching us. Never our words. Let's write this down, people.
Yeah.
Never our words.
Right.
You can tell your kids all the time. You've got to finish that. You've got to do that. Once you start something, don't quit. But if mom starts something and quits, and dad starts something and quits, or they never start something, and they butt themselves out of it, what have our kids learned? They've learned that, well, just don't start it.
Yeah.
Just don't start it. You're good. And the world will keep turning without your stuff. But there are contributions in our world that our world would not be what it is if we didn't have them. And I think of music and great sports people and, people in great places. I was listening to this podcast the other day where this lady was talking about her favorite hobby is 18th century history. I'm like, whose hobby is that? That sounds terrible.
Right.
But to her, it is fantastic. So she has gone on to write several books about history that nobody would even know about, maybe even care about, if it didn't matter to her.
Right.
And so the world is better by these contributions. And maybe you're the next Billy Graham. Maybe you're someone that just matters really importantly to your neighbor.
Yeah.
But someone in your life is waiting for your contribution, and if we butt ourselves away, they don't get it. Your kids don't get it, your family doesn't get it, your neighbor doesn't get it, or on a global scale, big things don't happen if you don't step out into what you wanted to do.
I think we can go on and on all day about
We're not
this.
going to.
This is no, but I do want to hit really quick just on the topic of being too busy, right? Because that's one of the biggest buts out there.
Yeah.
Is, well, I'm too busy, or I'm so busy. I have so much going on that I can't get this done, or I can't do this, or whatever. Tell me, what are your thoughts about being busy?
I think, well, first of all, I think right now that's kind of the badge of honor. Like, everybody has it.
Right.
Like, when you walk into a room, oh my gosh, I've been so busy, or, the very first thing people ask you is, what have you been doing? Or, not even, I don't know, it's so, oh, I've been so busy. It's just the badge of honor. And really, it's the smokescreen. Because we're all busy.
Yes.
Everybody's busy. There's not one person, probably the homeless guy would say he's been busy. So, if that is your but, then you're hiding behind I've been busy. Then again, things are being missed in your life for you and for others.
Yeah. It's a matter of and we've all heard this, we all know this, it is a matter of priorities.
Yep.
It's a matter of prioritizing those things.
Yep.
We were working, both of us on our computers all day yesterday.
Yep.
And so, for example, we a while back, we said we need to eat at home more, not get takeout, not eat out, et cetera, et cetera. And then next thing you know, yesterday it was 7:00. We've been on our computers all day, just plugging away. And it was like, well, we've been so busy today. So we should eat at home. We should just make something really quick. But we've been so busy today.
Right.
And so we ended up getting takeout.
So our big butt cost us.
Right.
It cost us money.
It's not
as healthy.
Right. It impeded into our priority
Yep.
of what we established just a couple weeks ago.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
So someone said teaching my son to stick to
to commitments.
Commitments, I'm sorry, I can't see it that far away. Once we have verbally said we would do it.
Yes.
And that's big. I remember telling our kids as they were, mainly our son in football, he wanted to play football so badly. We get him to football, he hates it. And so, we're 2 or 3 practices in. Of course, the practices are the worst. That's part of the problem, is that,
right.
like, this moment right here is exciting. Preparing for it, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And then Jim and I are bickering a little bit about it. You don't even know what goes behind the scenes. And so then we get here, and this is fun.
Right.
And so then it's like, yeah, let's do that again. Because the games are fun.
Right.
The practice is crappy. Okay? So I remember telling our son that you never have to do this again, but you have to finish it. So you're in this sport, you're in this thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to another season. You don't ever have to be on this team again, but you're in it right now.
Yeah.
And I hear my voice telling me that. Even this morning as I'm working out, and I'm in at about 80 jumping jacks, and I'm like, I can't make it to 100. And I said to myself, well, you're already doing it. You don't have to do any more, but you have to finish this. And I'm like, 15 more jumping jacks. I can do it. So it's the little things, and it really starts in us.
Right.
Where we talk to ourselves and where we let ourselves off the hook is how we'll expand that to others.
Right.
And so if I'm committed to me that, all right, I already set the alarm already went off, I need to get up and go to the gym. I've already said that to myself. If I let myself off the hook with that, it'll spill over to something else later.
Right. It's so easy to say, just in that case, so easy to say, I'm so tired, or I've been so busy.
Every day I say that.
Yeah, right. We all can say that. So, again, we can go on and on, but we're going to go and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us.
Much.
Hopefully this has been helpful for y'all.
Yeah.
And
every Tuesday.
Yep.
10-ish.
Yeah.
We try to hit it right at 10. Might be a little early, might be late. We'll let you know if we're going to be late.
Thank you so much for joining us here. And remember, get rid of your big butts.
Get rid of that big butt.
That's right.
And that's not a health thing.
Yeah.
That's not a physique.
Get rid of those
moment.
excuses. Get rid of those things that are stopping you.
So. Join us at Instagram at the Real Sherry Condo. Website realsherry.com, and which I'm working on. I'll keep working on that. And
hit us up on all social media platforms, and we will see you next week. Thank you again so much for joining us, everybody.
Have a good
Talk
day.
to y'all soon. Bye bye. Have a great week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.